Good morning. Today we are discussing about economic operation of the power system. This is under your module 5 and this is the first part of our lecture. So in the last semester you may have studied about economics of some factors in the economic generation of power system. That means you know that power system is basically it is a generate. Its parts are there are three parts. First one is generation side, and then transmission, and the last one is distribution. So we consumers are here actually in the distribution side. So we are consuming the power. We are taking the electrical power that is generated by the generator. So for this power consumption we are paying the bill. So we are getting current bill, electricity bill. So in these days it is very commonly discussed. We are commonly discussing about these bills because there are some issues regarding this. So why we are paying the bill? Why we are paying the? Why we are doing the payments? Because we are consuming the power. For this generation of the power, mainly it is having some cost. So to compensate that cost, we are paying the bill. So this cost is a very important factor, mainly in case of generators for the generation. So we know that the generation side, when we are considering the generation side in India, if you are considering the whole over the India, the main generation is from thermal power plants, and for the operation of thermal power plants, fuel input is required. So fuel. So mainly the cost is due to the fuel, for the fuel input. So we are paying for the power generation or to compensate for the cost of the fuel. So to reduce the bill, if we are to reduce the bill, we have to reduce the fuel cost. So reducing the fuel cost is very important. How we can reduce the fuel cost? So in this analysis in economics of power system, in that chapter we are mainly concentrating on this point, how we can optimally reduce the cost of the power system. For that, how we can select the generating units, how we can distribute the loads among different units. So those things are coming under this chapter or this portion of power system. So in the last semester you may have studied about load factor, diversity factor, etc. So these are also very important in this analysis, because load factor is average load by maximum load. Diversity factor is sum of the simultaneous maximum loads of the consumers by maximum load on the system. So these two factors should be high. If these are high, means it is indicating the cost is less. Mainly load factor. Load factor is directly indicating fuel cost. So when load factor is high, means average load is very near to maximum load. Average load is very near to maximum load. That means that load, the requirements are satisfied, very satisfactorily operating, then the fuel cost will be very less. So this is also very important. This thing you have studied in the last semester. So this is the introduction I am giving for you before we are entering to the things. So these things you should be remember. We have to reduce the fuel cost. That is the main point you have to note down. Now we are going to our analysis. This module we are going to this syllabus. So the first thing coming here is economic load dispatch. It is an optimal combination of power generating units which are selected to minimize the total fuel cost. So it is an optimal. Optimal means we have to optimally how we can select the units. Combination of the power generating units. It may be different types of power generating units. One may be thermal, nuclear, hydroelectric, like that. There are so many different types of power generating units are there. Therefore, the combination of these units, what is the aim? Its aim is to minimize the total cost. That is the main point. Minimize the total fuel cost with satisfying the load demand and several operational constraints. So, whenever we are selecting the units, then it should satisfy the load demand. So, according to that, we have to select a combination of power generating units to minimize the total fuel cost. So, it involves two main problems. There are two steps. One is unit commitment or pre-dispatch problem, and another one is online economic dispatch or cost minimization. So, this is very, very important. There are two steps for economic load dispatch. One is unit commitment, or we can say pre-dispatch. Second one is online economic dispatch. So, first step is unit commitment. So, in this we are selecting optimally the generating units from the available generating sources to operate to meet the expected load. So, we are having some loads. So, we are consumers, we need the electrical power, so we are the loads. So, similarly, there are so many loads are there, industrial loads are there, industrial consumers are there, commercial consumers are there, and household consumers are there. So, so many types of consumers are there. So, we have to meet the expected load. So, from the available units, generating units, to meet this load, we have to select optimally the generating sources. So, when selecting this, we have to provide a specified margin of operating reserve. That means some operating reserve should be there for a specified period of time. So, selecting the units from available units, that phenomenon is known as, that stage is known as unit commitment. And second stage is online economic. This is second stage. So, from the selected units, we have to distribute the loads. So, we are having some loads. So, for this generating units, we are distributing the loads. So, to distribute the load among the generating units actually paralleled with the system. That means that connected with the system to minimize the total cost. So, the main purpose is to minimize the total cost for supplying minute to minute requirements of the system. So, why it is known as online, because it is a live. By minute to minute or instantly it will be changing, that load requirement may be changing. So, according to that, we have to distribute the load among the selected units. So, selecting the generating units is the first step, that is the unit commitment problem, and distributing the load among these units is known as online economic dispatch. That is the second stage. Now, in case of economic load dispatch, generations are not fixed, but they are allowed to take values within certain limits to meet a particular load demand with the minimum fuel consumption. That means, in the load flow analysis, in the previous module, we have discussed that that for the generators, we are specifying some power for the generator buses, always specifying except for slack buses. A specific value of generation is given for each generator buses, but here we are not giving a specific value. That generations are not fixed, but it is allowed to take values with certain limits. That means it can take a power value, active power generation value for a particular generator, it can take, but it should be within certain limits. It has to satisfy some constraints. So, choosing the one which is optimal in the sense that it needs minimum. So, our main aim is minimum cost of generation. So, cost of the generation is a function of the individual generation. So, we are considering individually each generating sources which can take values within certain constraints. So, it has to satisfy some constraints are there, it has to be satisfied. Now, this we are going to the next topic, which is system constraints. That means we discussed that we have to select the generating units, and we have to optimally distribute the load among them. So, for the generators, we are not specifying the power generation, but it should be within certain limits, and it has to, for each generating station, should have to satisfy some system constraints. So, which are the system constraints? One is equality constraint and another one is inequality constraints. So equality means equal. That means it is specifically given some values. That is known as equality constraints. But inequality is not specifically given. It is given with some equal, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, like that. Inequalities again, one is soft type and hard type are there. Soft type means some definite things. Example, tapping range of, or tap ratio of on-load tap changing transformers. That is a specific quantity, specific parameter, tap ratio of a transformer. But voltage, phase angle, etc., node voltage, phase angle, etc., are some hard type inequality constraints. So inequality constraints means whatever the load flow equations we are considered in case of load flow equations, PP equal to QP equal to, which is equal to some values. So whatever we are considered in case of load flow equations, those values that which is coming with an equal to is known as equality constraints. Now in inequality constraints, there are so many things we have to consider. First one is KVA loading on generators. KVA means apparent power. S is equal to root of PP square plus QP square on each generator. P is pth generator. This should not exceed a pre-specified value Cp. Because of the why it should not exceed, because some temperature rise limit conditions are there. So PP square plus QP square should be less than a pre-specified value Cp. That means if you are giving a KVA loading, or the total apparent, if you are considering the total apparent power on a particular generator, its value should not exceed this value Cp, because it is having some temperature rise conditions. Now second one is maximum active power. So first one we considered is KVA loading. This is second one, active power generation. It should also limited with some minimum and a maximum value. Why it is limited? By some thermal consideration, again that temperature issues. Also minimum power generation is limited by the flame instability of a boiler. So this is actually maximum. So active power, for the active power, for the apparent power, there should be some maximum value. It should be less than some pre-specified value Cp. For active power, there are some maximum and also some minimum value. Why there is a maximum value means it is limited by thermal consideration. So this point you have to note. And why the minimum value is limited? Because of flame instability of the system. It is related with the stability of the system. Now power output of generator, optimum operation of system is less than a pre-specified value P minimum. The unit is not put on the bus bar because it is not possible to generate the low value of power from that unit. So if that P minimum value is not satisfied, it cannot be put on the bus bar. It cannot be connected because it is not possible to generate that low value of power from that unit. So this PP should be within this value. PP value means for that pth unit, its power generation should be in between minimum and maximum. Now the third one is generator reactive power generation. So first one is apparent power, total power. Second one is active power. Third one is reactive power. Maximum reactive power is limited because of overheating of the rotor. Again, overheating. Thermal considerations. Due to the overheating, maximum value is limited, and the minimum is limited because of the stability limit. So again, the same thing only. In the active power, the maximum is limited due to the thermal considerations, and minimum is limited due to the instability. Here also maximum is limited due to the overheating of the rotor, and minimum is limited due to the stability limit. Hence the generator should be in between this minimum and maximum. And now the fourth one is voltage constraints. Voltage constraints. Voltage magnitude and phase angle at various nodes should vary within certain limits. Voltage should vary within certain limits because otherwise most of the equipments connected to the system will not operate satisfactorily, or additional use of voltage regulating device will make the system uneconomical. So it cannot operate satisfactorily if it is not within limits. So this VP value, voltage value, should be, its magnitude should be within the limits, minimum and maximum, and its angle also should be, delta is the angle of the voltage V, it also should be within some limits. Now the fifth one is spare capacity, running spare capacity constraints. These constraints are required to meet the forced outages of one or more alternators. That means there may be some issues some maintenance issues or some outage for the alternators or unexpected load. Some loads are the loads may be connected unexpectedly, so we have to give some spare generation. So for that running spare capacity also some constraints are there. Total generation should be such that in addition to meeting load demand and losses, a minimum spare capacity should be available. So we have to meet the load demand, whatever the load required, that demand should be met and the losses also should be met. Along with that, this spare capacity should be available. So G means it is the total generation and PSO is some pre-specified power. So this is PP means power generation at a specified generator, pth generator, and along with some PSO means some spare power should also be considered. So this is the total power generation should be greater than or equal to this value. A well planned system is one in which this space capacity is minimum. Now the sixth one is transformer tap setting. We specified that this is like a soft type constraints. In an auto transformer, minimum tap setting should be 0 and maximum is 1. The tap setting ratio should be specified, should be satisfied, and in two winding transformer it should be within 0 less than t less than or equal to n. Some value should be, some limits are there, it should be satisfied, and the phase shift should be within some limits. Theta p should be within some limits. Now the seventh one is transmission line constraints. Flow of active and reactive power through the transmission circuit is limited by thermal capability of the circuit and is expressed as Cp less than or equal to Cp max, where Cp is the maximum loading capacity of pth line. Similar to the generators, these transmission lines also should satisfy that thermal capability conditions. So with this we are stopping here. So it is giving mainly we are discussed about the what are the system constraints we have to consider in case of a power system network, in case of economic consideration of a power system network. So we will be continuing in the next class. Thank you.